devotional thought today about having joy in the midst of all of this. If you're like me, this time of social isolation and the lack of presence of people may be taking its toll on you. I know for me it's been hard to wrap my head around all of this and wondering what's going to come up in the next few weeks. But to help me out during this quarantine, I have FaceTime with my friends and loved ones. I FaceTime with Laura Beth, who is adulting in Nashville, my mom in Fort Mill. I even try to FaceTime all of my MVCA teachers, and some of them will answer their FaceTime, some won't because they're not camera ready. But even though we are able to be digitally present with one another, there is something special about being that physical presence. It's something about being able to see someone and greet them with a smile or a handshake or a warm embrace, and to have that physical contact. But during this time, we've all been quarantined. Our jobs have been quarantined, the schools have been quarantined, family and friends have been quarantined, beaches, parks, restaurants, stores, everything has been quarantined. But do you know what has not been quarantined? What cannot be quarantined? That's God's presence. And where God's presence is, there is joy. And God's presence cannot be quarantined. Psalm 139 verses 7 through 12 says, "Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up into the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths of the seas, you are there. If I rise on the wings of the dawn, if I settle on the far side of the sea, even there your hand will guide me. If I say, surely the darkness will hide me and the light become night around me," and even if I feel lost in this quarantine, kind of adding that in there, but even in the darkness will not be dark to you, because even your presence, you have guaranteed that the night will shine like the day, for darkness is as light to you. We cannot quarantine God's presence. Nothing can keep us from God's presence, not even quarantine. And in His presence, there is joy. And when we experience His presence, we are filled with joy. Even though you may feel alone at times during this time, please know this, that God's presence is near you and He can give you joy. And you can find reasons to rejoice. So you might ask, where is God's presence? It may be in the moment that you woke up this morning and ready to face a new day. His presence could be found around the dinner table as you look at your family and you see the meal that God has provided. You could find His presence in the spring flowers that are blooming or the trees that are budding. You could find His presence in all the chalk art around your neighborhood if it's anything like mine, or maybe in the red ribbons that are tied around trees and doors. But His presence can be experienced even on Sundays as we join together online for corporate worship. And where His presence is, there's joy. His presence is all around us. It cannot be quarantined. And in His presence, there is joy. There's something beautiful about experiencing God's presence. It's that tiny reminder that even when we feel alone, God is still there. Even when we're facing these uncertain times, God is with us. And even when you may not feel His presence, He is still there near you. He has promised never to leave us or forsake us. Where Jesus is, joy is there. So rejoice in the reality that God is with you, He is for you, and He is on your side. So even in the midst of this quarantine, God's presence is there, so you can have joy. Psalm 16, verses 9 through 11. "Therefore my heart is glad and my tongue rejoices. My body also will rest secure, because you will not abandon me to the realm of the dead." Or you will not abandon me during this realm of quarantine and COVID-19, nor will you let your faithful see decay. So, you make known to me the path of life. You will fill me with joy in your presence, with eternal pleasures at your right hand. Did you catch that one line? You will fill me with the joy of your presence. Look for His presence. It's all around you. Let Him fill your heart with so much joy that it overflows around you. It reminds me of the old song that we used to sing when we were kids. I've got the joy, 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 joy down in my heart to stay. Remember, God's presence cannot be quarantined, and in His presence, there's joy.